This is going to be a 10PC analysis. I'll go a little bit slower than last time, and try to explain my thought process in more detail than in the previous video, which you should totally watch. Let's get right into it. With these pieces, the best setup is the shoe plus O setup coming in at 99.21%. A common solving pattern for this is to skim with the T, L and I pieces, and then the remaining area is good if you have both L and J, and sometimes neither L and J in the next bag. For TIZO second, I chose to do a Q-based setup. Usually for second PC, we will place 3 or 4 pieces down and then look for a solve, but instead, I did a setup that I know would guarantee me a save O, based on this S piece that I have early in the next queue. These Q-based setups are possible because I can see 4 pieces remaining in the bag, and then 3 more after that, and based on those 3 pieces, usually I can come up with a decision on which setup to use. There's a document with some of these setups linked below. Usually, extra O third PC is pretty good, but when T, L, J come early, there really isn't a great setup. For this, we use this strange looking setup. When we're looking for a solve, we should consider columnar parity. The amount of L, J, and vertically placed T pieces in any PC is even. In this setup, we have both an L and a J placed, so we must use both the L and T pieces that we have in Q to solve this setup. Because it needs to be even, this T piece must be vertical. So this cuts down the potential placements by a lot, and then we can look for solutions from there. I know that I can go for 100% setup here, so I build that for this bag. Since I see another T pop up in the queue, my brain immediately jumps to either PCO or anti-PCO setups. I can extend out on the left with the T and S pieces to make the same shape as PCO, and then I recognized that there was a solve. For this 5th PC, I don't actually know a setup for these pieces, so I made one up, and this is called freestyling. I know I am guaranteed another O piece, because in 5th PC, you are guaranteed to be able to use at least one of every piece due to bag composition. So what I did was make a box shape on the right, and put O on the left, with the intent to stack the O pieces, since I knew I was getting at least one more. Knowing that the other O piece was probably going to be stacked on top of the other one, I looked for a solve with the rest of the pieces, and this is simply a PCO pattern. No Z6 is one of the best case scenarios. I saw that I could build a box, so I went for that because it's safe to do most of the time, since I have a T on hold. What piece that I save here doesn't matter too much, because I'm going into 7th PCs. Most 7th PCs are already 100%, so I knew that just taking the save I would be okay, since the next pieces in the queue are guaranteed to be J and S in some order. This setup that I have already memorized is 100%, and it's pretty simple to solve this one. We know that the O piece must go on the right side, because there's a spot made for it, then that's called a dependency. I can complete this box with a J and S piece, and the remaining pieces make up a common PCO type solve. After this, I am back on 1st PC, and with these pieces, I can build the leg setup with just 99.52% to solve. There are a lot of ways to go around solving this pattern, but usually, I want to try close off the box on the right. I can do this here with the Z and J pieces, and the left side is again just a common 4x4 box pattern, and I'll leave a link to a 4x4 user mode where you can practice some 4x4 solves. I tried to remember a Q-based setup for this, but I couldn't remember it, so I settled for a 100% 4-piece setup. I had a save T, which is the theoretical best save, but I did not spot this in the run. I instead took another save O. When you look at the solution, this is no different from any other PCO solve, but the order which the pieces come in is a little bit unfamiliar. If you struggle to see the solve, try think of placing pieces in a different order than what you'd usually do. For this 3rd PC, I know that the jaw setup is pretty reliable, so I built it. A typical solve for this is to skim with the L piece, and this is called the Reindeer setup, since the solves that come out of this are fairly simple. This solve might not be immediately obvious to you, but if you place the S piece on the left, this results in a board, which you can solve with many different combinations of pieces. That's it for this analysis. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. Catch you guys later.